You know, we've been using automatic chicken doors for, well, forever since the beginning. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you, A, are they worth it? Are they really working? Are they reliable? And what to look out for. And I'm going to share with you some of the brands that we've been using, like the ChickenGuard and the Chickcozy here on the other side. And maybe let's start with the ChickenGuard over here. That's the first one we've used. I mean, not this particular door, because that's the second one. We had the same model over here on this Coop, and we just had to replace it. And what I like about the ChickenGuard is that it, moves up vertically. So in other words, you don't need a lot of space on the side. It doesn't really matter what you have on the side, as long as you have enough vertical space, you can implement this door. It's like a pulley system. It's a, you can program it. Obviously, it has a light sensor. You can set it on a timer, so it open and close it a certain day, or certain time rather, I should say. Or you can just let the light sensor work it and say, okay, once the light is below a certain threshold, close it, and once the light is above a certain threshold, open it in the morning. And it's fairly predator proof, so it has like hooks on the bottom, so once it fully closes, you cannot just lift it up unless you pull on the string or on that pulley. The big downside with this door is that as soon as the door opens, the chickens want to get out, and so they push it up, and that means there is no more tension on that string. And when that happens is then, where the string, how do you say that? How do you say that, Sean? What's the word? When you pull up a rope where it goes around a spindle. How do you say that? Let's call it a spindle. You know what I mean. It's like that roll, where the, excuse my German English. But regardless, I'm gonna, in the B-roll you'll see what I mean. But when the problem is, if there's no tension on the rope or on that wire, then it doesn't roll up cleanly, and it can become a mess and get tangled, and then you have to open up the entire thing, unroll it, and roll it up properly so it's nice and tight. And that's one big advantage of this particular chicken door design, I want to say. On the flip side over here, there are no strings, nothing. It's simply, electronics moving, or if there is any string, then it's built in, you don't see it. The door opens horizontally. And that means if you don't have any space, like for example on that mobile chicken tractor, the Chickcozy that we used for our meat birds and still do, where there was no horizontal vertical space, then opening it horizontally was working significantly better, and that's really the reason why we got this particular door. The same here, it's battery powered, it lasts forever, I want to say, so you don't have to replace the batteries very often. You can also program it, you can set a delay, a threshold, so you can say, okay, even if the light is at a certain threshold, give it a little bit extra or a little bit less, so you can set define offsets to really open it at a particular time. Now the problem that we've noticed with this particular guys, which I think is made in China versus the ChickenGuard is made in the US, at least it's a US company. With this guy here, the light sensor I think stopped working, because yesterday the door was closed, even it was already bright outside, and I checked the sensor and it said we had 0 lux light, which was not true because it was still fairly bright out here. So I had to switch to a time-based opening and closing, which is okay, but of course throughout the year you have to adjust that, because now in summer, sun comes up at 6:30. In winter, it's significantly later, especially if you then account for daylight savings time and everything. So you will have to update the settings throughout the year, maybe 3-4 times, who knows. But beyond that, it's also a very solid design. The other thing I like about the ChickenGuard is then you can hook it up to a power source. So it's powered via USB, or it can be powered via USB. So if you have an outlet nearby, which in this Coop we actually have an outlet, we have 2 outlets, which could be a safety hazard, but hasn't been so far. But you could plug it in to a regular phone charger, and then via USB cable, USB-A, just plug it in and have it powered, and don't worry about battery replacement. We've had a couple of cases where the battery ran out and we didn't notice it. There is a status LED that comes on when the battery drains or is about to be empty, so you get a visual indication, but nonetheless I think we missed it once or twice, and then the door didn't close or didn't open, which is the better case. Generally speaking, those automatic chicken doors are incredibly convenient because they work most of the time. I want to say, we've had maybe 5 cases where there was something wrong with the door. With the ChickenGuard we had on here, right before we replaced it with the Chickcozy, we had some frequent issues towards the end, before the motor stopped working. What are you doing? what are you doing here? But beyond that, up until that, we had very few issues. Maybe in the last 3 years, we had maybe five cases where the door either didn't open or didn't close, or there was something else going on that we had to address. Now, here's the thing. If you are in an area like we are here, it's fenced in, we have a perimeter fencing, we have, temporary fencing around, and you have fairly low predator pressure, that might not be a big deal. If you're somewhere where if you leave, if the door does not close at night and you don't check it, and you know that there's going to be something in that coop eating your chickens, be it a fox, a raccoon, coyote. Coyote is probably not going to fit through, but anything smaller that could be, that could kill your chickens, then you cannot rely on those automatic chicken doors. You still have to go and check, and that's what we do anyway. Every night we come out and make sure that everything is closed, everyone is in, because sometimes, a couple of chickens, they missed it, the cutoff date, and they are still outside while the door is already closing. And so you still have to rely on human intervention to make sure that the door is closed. But there have been plenty of cases where we come home late, or we have a pet sitter or a farm sitter for that matter, if we're traveling, and we know that there is a good likelihood of the door closing and opening automatically. So there's one less thing to do in the morning and in the evening, but don't rely on it. Check anyway. Those things break, they can break, they will break at some point. You don't know when it's going to happen, and you want to prevent a catastrophe. So use them wisely. Use them, but verify. That's, I guess, my thing. Between those two, I feel that this is maybe a more solid product that will last you longer. I don't know if it's American built entirely, but at least the brand is here. I've had one issue in the beginning where I broke something on the device and they immediately sent me a replacement. So there was very great customer support and quick customer support as well. This brand, I think, is from China. If you look on Amazon or online, a lot of the brands you'll see are from China. So just know that they might break, after a year. Replacements or support might be an issue, but it really depends on, for us, what type of setup we have. Do we have the room to open the door, to pull the door? We could go with this one. Do we not have the opportunity? Do we need to open it horizontally? Then this one is a good option. I like this one a little bit better because it's less prone to issues if hens try to squeeze out before the door has fully opened. But again, with the downside that this is probably gonna break sooner. And so I always recommend, and that's my takeaway for you guys, have an extra door at hand so you can swap it out if something breaks. If that happens, like on the day you go on vacation, for example, and you have to rely on the door for a day or two or even longer, then you want to have a replacement on hand. They are not super expensive. We have one extra in our basement. If something happens, we just swap it out and we're good to go. And with that, we're gonna wrap it up. I hope you like this video. Share it with someone who's interested in a chicken door, and let me know in the comments, which one do you think is the better option? The ChickenGuard with the pulley system, or the Chickcozy with the horizontally opening doors? Let me know. Until next time.